Good morning, everyone. So, not much really happening on the homebrew scene at the moment. Not many updates, no updates to firmware or atmosphere or anything like that. So, I've been in the market for trying to buy a new SD card. So I thought I'd just share my research with you, really. So, what I've been looking at and how much they cost and sort of cost effectiveness to buying a new one. So, from the get go, basically, I wouldn't buy anything except for a SanDisk, maybe a Kingston, but in all honesty, I've been caught too many times with SD cards getting corrupted or breaking. SanDisk are usually, and well, they are one of the best ones, if not the best SD card producer around. I've also had experience with their returns, and I've had corrupted SD cards that just keep crashing. Sent it back to SanDisk. Took a couple of weeks, but I got a new one, brand new one, sent out to me. No questions asked. I don't know how long the warranty is on these things, but it must be at least a year, as most companies have to do that. But I've had a great experience with them, and in all honesty, with the amount of taking SD cards in and out of switches, they've got a chance to getting corrupted. So the less or the higher quality you've got, the more chance you have of that not happening. So this is only going to be SanDisk because I stand by them. Obviously, I'm not sponsored by them. I'm a tiny little channel. There's no affiliate links or anything here. It's just going to be sending you to a link to Amazon, so you can do your own research if you want. I'm not trying to sell anything here, just letting you share my research, really. So basically, I've got SanDisk here. I've got both the UK and US SanDisk websites open. I've also looked at prices because even though I'm in the UK, I know a lot of the viewers there are from the US and want to know the prices there. So I'm going to pop over to my spreadsheet here, and so what I've done, I've just taken the SD card sizes here. So there is, in all honesty, the higher you can go, the better, because even though it costs a little bit more for them and the cost per gigabyte is more, it's going to save you swapping out that SD card. So you have a couple of options here. You can go really big and spend quite a lot of money on them, or you could go sort of mid-range and get two. So there's nothing wrong with that. You can have your atmosphere on two SD cards, but it just does mean you have to power down your switch, get your jig and your dongle out, reboot, and go from there if you're running homebrew. If you're not, then there's no reason to not do this, because even though it is a bit annoying having to carry on two SD cards, if you've got a case for your switch, which I imagine most of you do, you can just carry it in your switch case, a couple of SD cards. So you can go really small and have, so you could go down here, for instance, and go to the 128 gigabyte. They only cost £15 a card at the minute, which is real cheap, or $17.99, and that works out at a penny a gigabyte or 2 cents a gigabyte. Super cheap, but with games getting bigger and bigger, for instance, I think The Witcher is like 30 gigabytes now. You're gonna get like 4 or 5 games on there. Games do get bigger and bigger, and you're going to be swapping out your card a lot and trying to find the right card with different games. If you have 5 or 6 games that you play, nothing wrong with 128 gigabyte. Even up to 10 games, you could potentially get 10 smaller games on them. I know the Pokemon games are like 5 or 6 gigs. A lot of like, especially Nintendo Store games, they're tiny. Some of them, most of them, under a gig. So you can get loads of those on there. It depends on sort of what your gaming habits are and what sort of games you're going for. If you're going for those big games, like Breath of the Wild takes a lot of space. I know the new Grand Theft Auto games, well, I say new, the refurbed Grand Theft Auto games take up a lot of space. You just need to gauge that, really, and sort of make these decisions before you buy the card, because once you bought it and you max it out, you go, oh, I have to buy another one now for another £15 or whatever, or $15-20. And if you are swapping a lot of cards in and out, if you're running homebrew, it's even worse, because you have to power way down, power up your dongle, take your Joy-Con off, blah blah blah. So I can't really recommend getting a 128 gigabyte. You're going to probably max it out pretty quickly, and there's not really much point in doing them. However, the 256 and 200 gigabyte, I actually don't know why they exist. Most storage has always gone 128 to 256, no matter what the size, kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes. But for some reason, there's a 200GB SD card. I'm sure someone watching this video knows, and you can always comment and tell me. But the 256 is actually £1 cheaper, or only $177 more expensive in the US. Don't get 200GB. You're gonna get 56GB more for less price, and in the UK, and minimal price in the US. As you can see, rounded down, it's only 3 pence a gigabyte for both of them, and 3 cents a gigabyte for both of them. So just get 256. Now 256 is decent size. You're gonna get, if I have lots and lots and lots of games because my kids cannot decide what to play, and they switch and quickly go back and forth games. So I needed a really big card that can have lots of the games on them, that they can have all the choice in the world. My kids don't really understand me having to take out SD cards and all that, so I went super big and have all my games on one SD card. It means I don't have to pad on my Switch, I don't have to swap my SD card out, blah blah. So I went big, but 256 is more than adequate enough to hold 10 games at 25GB each. Plus you got to remember, you've got your 32GB on your built into your console as well as the 256. You can have 10 decent sized games on here. 10. That is a lot of games for your Switch. And if you have cartridges as well, they don't need to be installed fully onto the memory, so you can have those as well. These are for games that are downloaded. 256 is a very decent price, and £32 or $27 here is very, very competitive prices, and that is a decent amount of gigabyte per pence or cents that you are paying here. I would recommend these for the average gamer who plays anywhere between 10 and 15 games, because not all those games are going to be 25GB. This is going to allow you to store 10 to 15 games on there. Decent sizes. Once again, there is a 400GB, which is sort of the gap between 256 and 512, and it depends on what your budget is really, but I would, if you're going to go 400GB, just spend that little bit more money, I would, and go to the 512. Now I'm currently running a 512 in my Switch, plus my 32GB built in, and I maxed it out. I did. As I said before, I have lots and lots of little games, and lots of big games as well, because I like the big games, my kids like the small games, but I didn't want to be uninstalling games, reinstalling games, and that's why I found myself at the moment, is that I'm having to uninstall a game to install another one, and that's annoyed me. So I basically wanted to see how much a 1TB cost, and that's where I found myself now. As you can see, the 512, 7 pence or 6 cents gigabyte, very decent price in the US, $59.98, where it's £70 in the UK, and I know our conversion rate, that's the wrong way round. SD cards are a lot cheaper in the US for some reason. I'm not from there, can't tell you why, but £70 is about $90, I think, maybe even more. So that is a very good price there. 6 cents a gigabyte for a 512, and all these prices as of today, the 27th of April 22. So there is a bit of a sale on Amazon, which I will go to their website in just a second and show you, but I cannot recommend more getting a 512GB. You are going to get loads of games on there. Like, I've currently got about 40 or 50 games on my SD card, which my kids flips between, but there is so much choice on there. And like, I'm an avid Switch user, well, avid for my kids and keep it active and keep this going, but I maxed out. That 99% of you are probably going to be alright with 512GB, and that is a very good price in the US. It's a decent price in the UK, to be honest. 7 pence a gigabyte is decent, and most of you aren't going to max that out. £70, it is a bit of an investment, but you're going to need that space eventually, and instead of spending 256, if you've got two 256s, it's going to be £64. Same over here, just shy of $59. Just get the 512. Now we don't have to hot swap your cards out, and this is what I was trying to say to you, is like, yeah, 128 is super cheap, and you can buy one now and you can buy another one later on, but you're gonna find yourself 4 or 5 cards deep, which equates to this. And lastly, the 1TB. So 1TB is currently the biggest size SD card you can buy on Amazon. Conveniently, the Switch will take up to a 2TB SD card. It's a bit future proofing, which is good. I cannot see us filling 2TB of SD cards with games, but we never know how long this Switch is going to keep going. But the current Switch will take up to 2TB. That is amazing for the future, and those SD cards are going to be very expensive when they do come out, and probably a bit too much for all of us at the moment, but depends on how much we build our library up and how much we're going to use it for. However, I'm looking at a 1TB SD card. Currently £145 in the UK. That is actually at a discounted price as well. It's very expensive, and I am going to hold off, to be honest, until they drop probably below the £100 mark. It might be a while, but I'm not desperate for it yet, but it is a big investment for just a memory card. And as you can see, it is over double the price of two 512. I would be better off buying two 512s, having one for myself with all my big games on it, and one for my kids on there. And you can just swap those out, and that way, depending on who's playing, I can just swap those out. That is cheaper than buying one. So in the UK, for instance, so 70, £140. It's actually more expensive to buy one. Of course it is. It's more convenient. It's all on one chip. But for my needs, probably not yet. I'll probably buy another 512 for now, and then maybe sell both of them in the future to get a 1TB. Over in the US, it is the same. It works out 6 cents terabyte for 512 and 12 cents for the 1TB. So about the same. So 60 plus, it's exactly the same. 60 plus 60, 120. It's $5 more. But roughly rounded down, it's the same per gigabyte, but it is a big investment. $124 though is around £100. That is really cheap. And for some reason they're cheaper in the US. It might be import fees, and I couldn't personally buy that and have it shipped to UK because inevitably I'm going to pay import fees and God knows what, and shipping is not worth it. I'm better off just waiting for this one to drop, or buy that. It's going to be the same price across that with the fees. 1TB is, as I stated to you before, probably too much for most of us, but if you find yourself in the situation I'm in right now where you're deleting games to install games, that's frustrating. But I found that there were games in there I hadn't touched in months, my kids hadn't touched in months, probably just taking up space. But it is what it is, and I'm at this point. I just want to share my research. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly pop over to the I'm going to share a link in the description for where I discovered them. Like I said, no affiliate links here, nothing like that. It's just a link to Amazon. You can Google it if you want, and you'll find this exact same page. So as you can see here, this card is meant to be £218. It's at a 34% discount, down 144. And all you need to do is go to this one link and then drop down here, and you can choose whatever size you want. Don't go 32 or 64, completely pointless. But you can just swap over to whatever size you want, and you can see the prices here, and exactly the same for the US. So as I said, it's 124. It was 200. That is a 38% discount, and you can just choose what size you want here to if you want to go lower. And just to confirm you, here it is that the microSD cards come in a range of storage. The Nintendo Switch can accommodate up to 2 terabytes in size. Sounds amazing, but they actually don't go to that point yet. They will, of course. Technology is always moving forward, and we always need more and more size. So that 2 terabyte will come. It will be extravagantly priced when it does come, as with new technology, but it means that this 1 terabyte will drop in price, and that's kind of what I'm waiting for, to be honest. So that's my research. It's very simple. I stick by SanDisk because I know how reliable they are, and the only other one I'd probably go for is Kingston or an officially branded Nintendo Switch SD card, but those are very small, and the price is hugely inflated just because it's got a picture of a Mario or something on it, don't buy them. Buy a SanDisk. Yeah, that's just where I'm at really with that. Thanks for watching anyway, guys, and hopefully it's a bit more informative and a quick snapshot of the prices of SD cards at the moment. Probably the best value, especially in the US, is getting that 512 gigabyte. I wouldn't go for the terabyte just yet unless you find yourself in a situation I am, where you're swapping cards out all the time and or deleting games, sorry, and it's starting to frustrate, and you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna have to sacrifice that game. Oh no, and then am I gonna be able to download it when I'm out and about if I want to play it again? Or I'm gonna have to delete another game to reinstall it. It's frustrating, but it's a situation I'm in. I need to make a few decisions on what games I'm going to play. But anyway, guys, really appreciate you watching. Amazon, YouTube actually demonetized my channel because I'm not getting enough views and stuff. So I do appreciate you guys watching, and thank you. Please subscribe if you can. Cheers.